Hi, welcome to this roleplay let's play of Crusader Kings 3. Currently playing as King Frej of Sweden. He's of House Corp, and Corp is the dynasty we are going to follow in this storytelling and role-playing let's play. With role-playing I mean that I am playing after my character's trait and building his personality as the game progresses. We are going to base our decisions on the traits our character has and the personality I have developed for him during previous episodes. Storytelling in this instance means that I am building a story based on what happens in the game. It could be a scornful poem that my character, in this case the king here, is sending to a rival. It could be dialogue between the king and his wife, or in case of the last episode, his concubine here, Princess Giselle of West Francia. She's of House Carling, so their offspring will surely have an intriguing future ahead of him with all those claims. So, as you understand, this playthrough is not about being great at the game, but about developing the personalities around us and the story as it unfolds. So let's get on with it, shall we? In the last episode, our raiders here had coffers full of loot because they had been raiding and burning all of this. So we were about to head home with 250 gold to our capital holding in Lödöse here, but the King of Lotharingia caught up with us, defeated us, and took all the loot we had with us, and we retreated to here. And now there has been some debate in the war camp if we should run home with the tail between our legs, but we have decided that no, we can't do that, it would be humiliating. So since we were chased out of Lotharingia, we are going to find another target, and the closest one with a good amount of loot is the Barony of Stade in the Kingdom of East Francia. It is ruled by King Ludwig III, and he has a very small force. There might be a duke around here who has a large one, but we will see about that when we get there. So let's go and burn down Stade here. Again, the king's most trusted commander, Aki of Bebenberg, is leading. He's got to organize a trait, so he should get us there faster. Let's loot it. Increase the speed. Oh, someone in my realm died. It's Chieftain Sven. I was trying to sway him because I wanted him to have a higher opinion on me. Oh, and my son has now learnt Duil Vulgar, the language of my concubine, Giselle. And I get news of a scheme at court. Someone is trying to murder Aki, my most trusted commander and friend since the beginning of the campaign. This is not good. I hope our spy master can stop this plot from happening, but our spy master isn't the best at his job, is this dull and boring Jarl of Östergötland. But there is no one better, so he gets to keep it for now. Alright, continue with the raiding. Our supplies are low. Well, it's no wonder that our supplies are low, since we have been away raiding for months, if not longer. So now at least we have some loot that we can bring home and fill up the supplies, and maybe raise some more raiders to go and get revenge for the humiliating defeat down here in the last episode. Let's sail home. And I also wanted to see about my other children learning the language of my concubine. It surely could be a great thing for them to know one of the great languages down here. It looks like oh, she's too young to start, or maybe there are too many. Giselle will have her hands full with being the king's concubine and language tutor for all his children. But Giselle wasn't too happy to become concubine when she was abducted from her castle down here in Brittany. But she has since then grown to accept and even appreciate her place in the Norse court up here in the north. She is now of our faith, and she has a decently high opinion of the king. It was almost minus 100 for when she first came here. So we had made some progress in getting her to think better of us. I want to merge this, yeah, there we go. Let's go and raid. We don't really want to go back to Lotharingia because he proved to us last time, the king there, that he definitely has the strength to stop us, and we can't have that. Let's go back to Giselle's homeland, Brittany. It's an easy target with decent loot. The Age of the World. This is an event I haven't seen in this playthrough. The text reads, I have been studying the ancient religious texts and the writings of scholars, and they all seem to agree that the world will end 6,000 years after its creation. By my calculations, we are less than a century away. However, my riksgårdi Ingfridel urges me to keep it to myself. Leave it to the elders and avoid panic. What if your calculations are wrong? So the king, who is a very learned man, has figured out that the world will end soon. And the realm priest wants him to keep this for himself. And we can make the decision to tell everyone the truth, which will give us lifestyle, experience and prestige. Or we can agree with Ingfrida, the realm priest, and gain some stress because we are cynical, or I should consult with more Godar. Godar are the clergy. And I think that the king, being a scholarship-focused guy, wants to consult with more Godar. He wants to get to the bottom of this. And he can unlock a new perk for his lifestyle. Let's continue to work ourselves down this health-focused tree, because the king's children are not yet of age, and he would like to survive at least long enough that that they are ready to take the throne after him. Oh, Chieftain Bercy died. He is a character that made a name for himself in, I think it was the second episode, where we were still a small jarldom here and were trying to conquer the county of Nordmark from the holder. And there was a battle down here in the woods, and our champion Bercy maimed and defeated 2 of the enemy's best fighters, and in reward he was made chief of Nordmark and founded the house Trolli, and now he is sadly dead. He was slain by chieftain Rolf Rögnvaldsson of Hälsingland in a duel. So they had a holmgång. Bersi lost and died, and now chieftain Yngvar Bersison is the new chief and head of House Trolley. So House Trolley is a house that was founded during our reign by grace of the then Jarl, now king, and now they're on the second generation in the story of this house. And it is sad when characters you know and like die, but these things happen. And here's another event. It says, Solitude in the Great Hall. Starkadr seems to have been having a difficult time at our latest feast. He slipped underneath one of the tables and there hid from people for the entire meal. So Starkadr is our son and heir. He's coming of age, and he didn't really like the commotion at the latest feast. Me, the player, can surely definitely sympathize with that feeling. The king's options here are to tell his son that the important thing is that the guests know you were there. Or he can tell him if it was a chore, then you should simply have left. Or the third option, focus on the food if the company bothers you. The two latter options gives the king stress if he should choose to say this, because it's against his personality for some reason. I don't really see why these options should be against the king's personality. Maybe he's a lustful, generous, patient and cynical man. So let's go with this one will give us on the trait shy. Here he will be impatient. And third one, he will be gluttonous. Well, after considering for a while, I interpret these choices as the first one here is that the king thinks that the important thing is to keep up appearances. This one is, if you don't like it, then leave. And this one is that he should focus on other things, focus on the food. And I think, based on the personality I developed for the king, is the second option. If it was a chore, then you should simply have left. Because when I created him, I based him loosely on my own personality. He's our first character, and the characters that follow him will have their own personality. But if it was me, I would definitely have gone with the second option. If you're in a situation that you don't like, just leave. And here it seems like the Britons have assembled an army to try and chase us away. Let's see how it goes. I think we can win this. The odds are even. Yes, we are defeating them. And another scheme. My spy master has come to me with grave news. It is my champion Aki that is plotting against my wife, Queen Siv. This is not good, because Aki we consider a friend and commander, and now it seems like he wants to kill my king, who is not only... it seems like he wants to kill my queen, and she's not only my queen, she's the love of the king's life and his soulmate. So the only option available for us is to say the cold-hearted fiend. But I'm sure more will follow. If the king has to choose between Aki, his friend and commander, and his the love of his life and his queen, it is certain that he's going to side with the queen, especially since, as far as we know, Aki has no reason to try to murder her. Oh no, this is not good. In the previous episode we made sure that our son had the most votes in the election for new king, but now it seems like the vote has shifted again in favor of our rival Chief Björn of Monsö. Maybe it's because Bersi here died. Let's take a look at the electors. Yeah, it's Chieftain Yngvar of Nordmark. He is now voting for Björn. His father should have told him that his father voted for my son, and his father should have made sure that this little 9-year-old had knew what the right choice were, who was the right choice for new king. Let's see what we can do about this. Can we send him a gift and make him like us more, perhaps? We'll surely try. Let's go send gifts all around. We have plenty of money, and make sure that all the electors have a really high opinion of us, because the king is getting old. He could die at any moment, and it would not be good if we lost the kingdom and became a vassal of someone else. It could be fun, definitely, but if there is a chance to avoid it, we will definitely try to make sure that our son inherits the kingdom. Let's continue raiding, because we not only do we get money, we also get prestige when we return home from the raids. Let's designate a guardian for our 7-year-old daughter Saga. She is having a martial focused education, because she's a bossy and comely girl. So who should be her guardian? Yeah, Botilda here is a great choice, because she has a high martial skill and she is a brilliant strategist. She can try to make our daughter a shield maiden. I don't know exactly why I wasn't given the option to do something more about Aki trying to murder my wife, but I'm sure that something will unfold in the near future. The raid is progressing. It's only a couple of days left until we've... Here is the new chief of Nordmark wants my daughter Asta to visit him, and of course she will be there. Oh, my concubine is pregnant again. Oh, here's an event. An empty throne. My courtier Pyri has insisted on seeing me, even though I have made it known that I would rather be alone. My sensible king, says Pyri. It has now been a long while since you last showed yourself at court. We will try to do our best to maintain appearances in your absence, but the Swedish court cannot function without the king in attendance. My long absence from the royal court has left it leaderless and without purpose. My courtiers are increasingly comparing their circumstances to those of prestigious courts like the Danelaw one. So it's a courtier who thinks that we should hold a court attending and listen to their complaints. Should we do this? Or shall we say, I will visit my court when I see fit? Or should we start a feast? Let's start a feast, and I will attend court because I like it. It makes for fun gameplay and interactions, but I want to return home with coffers full of loot before I do. So let's give them a feast to distract themselves. It increased my court grandeur, which is good. Here's an event at the feast. A laudable effort. As the feast is underway and our guests are eating and drinking merrily, Jarl Rikulfur approaches Sif and me at the great table. This is a marvellous feast, all my compliments to the host. And I can say, yes, I have done a great job, haven't I? Or give the queen some credit. And I love my queen, so I will give her credit for it. Let's continue looting Brittany here. Mutual spirits at feast. What started as an ordinary feast became an exceptional one thanks to the presence of Queen Sif. We spoke all evening about all manners of subjects, and as things would have it, we seemed to have a lot in common. I had such a good time with her. This is a strange event because they have been married since our first episode for almost 20 years. They have been married, and she is our soulmate. So we, the king, surely by now know that he has a lot of common with her, but it's a good thing anyway. What a good evening. Oh, my children are quick learners. They are all learning the Duil Vulgaire language from my concubine. Here is a new event, lines about legacy. It's another poem from my acquaintance King Sigurdur a couple of episodes back. He dedicated another poem to us, and we appreciated it. He's a poet like me. We are also allies, and my son and heir is betrothed to one of his daughters. Let's read. The latest work of my acquaintance King Sigurdur has become all the rage at court of late. The piece deals with memory and what we leave behind, and Sigurdur has publicly dedicated it to me. The poem goes: What man does not hope to rest when tired, no matter his wealth and treasures acquired, and when their final hours near, wonder will life echo through the years. So far I've kept my thoughts to myself, but the buzz has grown too dramatic to ignore for much longer. The king definitely thinks that the poem is good, and he's also an ally and friend of King Sigurdur. So he will say, Sigurdur, I can see this is truly heartfelt. That's great. We also gain some piety for this. And one more interesting thing is that Sigurdur last time we spoke was the Jarl of Shelland, and now it seems that he has formed his own kingdom of Denmark. So we are two kings here in the north. We are friends and allies. Sigurdur does have some of our de jure territory, but he didn't conquer it from us, he conquered it from the former king of Sweden, our rival, who we usurped with the help of Sigurdur. The guests depart and we gain some prestige for this great feast, and I gain the trait Eagle Reveler because I've thrown so many great feasts. The king does like his parties. Oh, my queen is pregnant. Well, she is 44, so I guess it's plausible. The king is 62, and he surely has some. He definitely has some stamina for his age. Another event, Power of the Heroic Sagas. Riksgård Ingfrider often quotes passages from the heroic sagas about the holy virtues. I should prove I have paid attention by quoting a passage of my own, preferably one which complements her personality. I will memorize and recite a section on either courage, ferocity, or vindictiveness. What might my Riksgård Ingfrider like? She's chaste, trusting, and fickle. I think we will go with courage. I can't really figure out which is the right choice, but it seems that she is pleased and I gained some piety for it. Here's another event. The hardest part of ruling. By their very nature, ting meets can often be extremely boring. If tempers don't flare and no one gets dramatic, then it's just a long list of low-ranking freemen discussing petty affairs and standing out in the rain. Yet, as king, I am required to be there, growing older every second. Watch the men of Dal talk each other to death, wishing for a war to save me from this living hell. So the king is attending a ting meet in Dal, and he has some options. He can force himself to stay awake through these boring discussions, or he could daydream about books, or this is pointless, I'm taking a nap. I think that the king will stand there and let his mind flow away to some better place. Insistence. Audr has been harboring a secret affection for Ivar for some time. However, when she finally confesses her feelings, Ivar responded harshly. Audr still pursues him ever as doggedly, however. Audr is my favorite daughter. I like to call her the apple of my eye. She is my second born and the king's favorite. She is quick, charming, stubborn, just, and trusting. And now apparently she has a crush on Ivar Tykesson Borg of House Borg. He's the son of the Jarl of Bergslagen, and he has rejected her. The king can do one of the following. If one fails at first, all one can do is try again, which will mean that my daughter will keep the trait stubborn. Or I could go with the option to say Audr should not let anyone treat her like that, which means she will get vengeful. Or I can say perhaps love is not for Audr, in which case she becomes chaste. For the king, I think the first option is the obvious one. Or maybe the second. Yeah, let's go for the second, because he's also angry that this foolish boy has rejected his beautiful, charming daughter. So he tells her that, don't let anyone treat you like that. How's the raid going? We have some gold already, but let's go continue to burn down the Bretons' castles, villages and farms. Here we are raiding. Here's some more loot at this bishopric. I hope that we can catch some hostages as well. Oh, I had another son, and this is also a child of mine and my concubine, Princess Giselle, which means that he will inherit a lot of claims from her, claims for the better part of France, and that will definitely be interesting as he grows older and wants to have a piece of that. May you grow to be strong and wise, my son. There's no end to the events in this episode. Here's another one, a sacred text. As I'm out for a stroll around the market, a merchant calls me over, insisting she has something that will pique my interest. The scent of drying herbs and foreign tinctures overwhelms my senses as I approach the stall. She is rifling through her collection of dusty tomes and other treasures. After some digging, the merchant produces an old book and insists that I need it for what is to come. Fine, I'll buy it is the first option. Perhaps we can come to an agreement is the second one. Or I can take what I need, or I can say, what need have I for books? The king is a scholarship-focused, insightful thinker, so he is definitely intrigued and wants this book. So he can pay 50 for it and receive a book artifact, or he can say, perhaps we can come to an agreement, which will mean bartering. Had the king been greedy or more stewardship inclined, he might have bartered, but he has the money to spare, so he would say, fine, I'll buy it, and buy the book. And we are now the owners of Bodil's Heroic Sagas, a sacred text. As I'm putting away my newly acquired Bodil's Heroic Sagas, a slip of parchment falls out. Upon it are instructions for a practice called bibliomancy, where one might divine their fortune from a passage in a book. All I need to do is open this text to a random spot and read the first fateful verse my eyes might fall upon. So, this is interesting. I can choose the temptation is overwhelming, or I can say I'll have nothing to do with this unholy practice. No, the king is curious, he wants to know what this is. I follow the instructions to the letter and select a passage at random from the text before me. Shivering with anticipation, I open my eyes and read, "Fear is the mind killer. A coward dies 1,000 tiny deaths, yet a valiant man dies but once. What am I to make of this?" The options before us are to react with, "Fear is the little death that brings total obliteration," or "Fascinating, this requires further research," or "What utter nonsense." Well, like I said, the king is a curious person. He is going to go with the second option, fascinating. I gained lifestyle, experience and tense for 2 years. And the event continues. Troubling passage. For the life of me I cannot wrap my head around this passage from Bodil's Heroic Sagas, and it is consuming me. Fear is the mind killer. What could that possibly mean? What should I fear? What am I missing? Perhaps someone else may be able to shed light on this. So I could seek help from my Riksgårdi, the realm priest Ingfrida, or from my courtier Gyridar. Gyridar is... yeah, she's the wife of Collar here. I think we had a love affair at some point. Yeah, not that long ago the king had a love affair with her. But In this case, I think he will trust his Riksgårdi more. She has held this position since he first ascended to the Jarldom of Västergötland in our very first episode. The king trusts her, so she is the obvious choice for this. I gained more lifestyle experience, and I unlocked a learning lifestyle perk. Let's see what we can do with that. I can be healthy, which will give me health boost, and we were working our way down this tree here. So we are almost we have almost completed this whole of body tree. That is great. We are almost done raiding here, and then we can return home to take a look at our domestic affairs. Here's the next event. It's fishy business. It began as an occasional treat, an unusual habit, but I'm a good Norseman, and what Norseman hasn't eaten some dodgy herring in his time? Over the last few weeks though, Unur's predilection for utterly rotten fish has gone from tolerable idiosyncrasy to a pungent omnipresence. This morning, when I discovered what she'd done to the latrine, I decided I'd had enough. I found her in the hall, face soaked in fotide brine, half a fish eye lazily dripping down her chin. So Unur here, my courtier, the wife of Aki of Bebenberg, my trusted commander, who is also plotting to kill my wife for some reason, has developed a taste for rotten fish, which isn't that strange as it sounds. We still eat rotten fish in many parts of Scandinavia to this day, but like the king, most of us make some kind of face when you open the jars with this rotten fish. So let's see what the options are. We can sit down with Unur and have a talk with her about her overly enthusiastic feelings towards rotten fish, or I can simply move my quarters to get away from the smell, or I can throw her in the dungeon, or I can say, what a shame, it seems my attention is required far away, and leave the court. But I think that the king will sit down with Unur and try to convince her that eating rotten fish is good and all. I wouldn't want to rob you of your pleasures, but maybe you can do it somewhere else. Let's try that. You put your point across eloquently. That is good. She understood that not everyone appreciates the smell of her meals. Here comes. I wonder if he's going to try to engage us again in battle. I think we can defeat this, but I'd rather not fight if there is a way to avoid it. So let's see about trying to escape him. Because if we do fight, even if we win, he will kill some of our men and which will give us less room for loot. Here is a call to war from one of our allies. It's from our father-in-law, Jarl Alfgeir. He is the aggressor, so my father-in-law is trying to subjugate Jarl Rodgar of Trøndelag. I think it is Trøndelag. Today it would be called Trøndelag, I think, but here it looks more like Trøndelag. Maybe it's Norwegian. Of course we will accept his call to arms. We are at the moment away raiding though, so another son. For a couple of episodes back we only had one, but now we have so many children that I lost count of them. Here's King Frej Corp. He is son born to me and my wife. He looks like a healthy boy, and we shall see what his destiny, what's his future. My skilled vassal, my chieftain Ragnar, has proven himself highly capable, especially in martial matters. There are some projects I would like to undertake in the chiefdom of Medelpad, my liege. With your blessing, of course, says Chief Ragnar of Medelpad, one of our vassals. I could let him take the reins, or I could say that vassals shouldn't be taking such liberties. The personality that I have developed for the king during his reign tells me that we should go with the first option. He likes his vassals to be as independent as possible. He didn't really he had no real desire for the kingdom in the first place. He only took it because he was the jarl down here. And then Björn of House Munzer, who then controlled this part as well, the Duchy of Uppsala here, created the Kingdom of Sweden and by extent said that we should be vassals of his. So the king, in his opinion, had no choice but to be king for himself, because he was not inclined to be a vassal. Our raiders return home, and who are we fighting? Well, this is an interesting cliffhanger. Our father-in-law is trying to subjugate one of his neighbors, and it seems like he has dragged all of Norway into this conflict, and we will go and help him. And that will be in the beginning of the next episode. So for now, thank you for watching and goodbye.